Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we like to uncover the real story behind those corporate filings. And today we have a filing that is an amendment to a previous one, so that already tells us something might have needed a little tweak or a correction. And we'll dive into Palmer Square Capital BDC Inc. to see what is up. So what is the big deal about this filing? Well, it turns out Palmer Square Capital BDC Inc. needed to correct some key dates about their dividend payouts and a press release they originally put out. Let's unpack what that means for investors and what this amendment is really about. Palmer Square Capital BDC Incorporated is a business development company that essentially invests in and provides capital to mid-market companies. They focus on providing not just debt financing but also equity investments to these businesses. Alright, so what we're looking at here is not a brand new report but an update and amendment to a Form 8K that was filed back on the 23rd of September 2025. The key thing to understand about an 8K is that it is used to announce major events that shareholders should know about promptly. Now, why would they file an amendment? Well, the filing states it is to correct the record date and payment date for their quart, early supplemental dividend and their base dividend, and also to fix a press release that was attached to the original filing. So it sounds like some administrative details needed a bit of tidying up. The company is essentially saying, whoops, we made a little mistake in the original filing on some important dates related to a dividend. So we're filing this amendment to straighten it out. Think of it like sending out a correction to a letter you already mailed for businesses. This can be important because dividend dates directly affect when shareholders get their money and how the company manages its cash flow. Let us get to the juicy part. What dividend are we talking about? Palmer Square Capital BDC Incorporated announced a third quarter 2025 supplemental dividend of 0.06 per share. Now, a supplemental dividend is usually paid out of excess earnings or investment income above what is already planned. This one is scheduled to be paid on the 14th of October 2025. To make sure you get it, you had to be a stockholder on record as of the 26th of September 2025. This supplemental dividend is coming from what they call excess net investment income above their previously declared third quarter 2025 base dividend. This is the date correction part. The original filing likely had different dates here for the supplemental dividend payment. And the record date, now the base dividend, which is a regular dividend the company pays out, is 0.36 per share, and it is also payable on the 14th of October 2025 to shareholders of record as of the 26th of September 2025. So the correction here ensured that these dates align correctly for both the base and the supplemental dividends. Now, moving on to the exhibits, this filing includes an updated press release, which is Exhibit 99.1. This document is essentially being reissued with the correct dates. The other exhibit is the cover page interactive data file, which is standard for these filings. And finally, we have the signatures confirming that this amendment is properly filed on behalf of Palmer Square Capital BDC Incorporated. We see the signature of Jeffrey D. Fox, who holds the title of Chief Financial Officer. The date on this signature is the 23rd of September 2025, which is consistent with the filing date of the original report. Now let us put on our analyst hats. What does this amendment really tell us from a bird? As I view, this filing is mostly about correcting procedural details. It is not revealing any new major financial events or strategic shifts. However, the fact that they are filing an amendment, especially for dividend dates, suggests a few things. First, it highlights the importance of accuracy and precision in financial reporting. Even small errors in dates can cause confusion or administrative headaches for investors and the company itself. Second, it shows that the company is actively monitoring and managing its communications and reporting to ensure everything is in order for investors. This is likely minor noise, however, if you were expecting a dead and were confused about the dates. This amendment provides clarity. It is a good reminder to always check for amendments or restatements when reviewing SEC filings, as they can contain important corrections. Palmer Square Capital BDC Inc. is in the business of providing capital to mid-sized businesses. This is a sector that can be sensitive to economic conditions. If the economy is strong, these companies tend to do well and grow their investments. However, if there is an economic downturn, these businesses can struggle, which can impact the BDC's performance. Looking at the original intent of the 8K, which was to announce dividend declarations, we can infer that the company is in a position to distribute earnings to its shareholder. This is generally a positive sign indicating profitability and a commitment to returning value to investors. The specific amounts of 0.06 for the supplemental dividend and 0.36 for the base dividend. ProSair provide a snapshot of their earnings distribution strategy, while this amendment does in T give us new financing. Our statements or deep dives into their performance, it does underscore the need for diligence in financial record. Keeping it is a testament to the checks and balances within the SEC filing system, that such corrections are promptly made and publicly available to the company. S business model as a BDC means its success is tied to the health and growth of the companies it invests in. Risks for such a company would include economic downturns, increased competition in the lending space, and potential defaults by the companies they lend to. Opportunities might lie in identifying undervalued mid-market companies or expanding into new investment strategies. In conclusion, this amendment to Palmer Square Capital BDC Inc. S Form 8 K is primarily a correction of dividend payment and record dates. It illustrates the importance of accurate reporting, but does not signal any major underlying financial issues or strategic changes for investors. It is a clarification rather than a source of new information. The company seems to be functioning as intended by distributing dividends to its shareholders. Alright, that is our breakdown of Palmer Square Capital BDC Inc. S latest filing. What is your take on these kinds of corrections, and what do they mean for investor confidence? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives into corporate secrets. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.